Welcome back. My name's Mike. I've often wondered, with all the built-in formulas and functions that Excel gives us out of the box, there's been several occasions where I've needed a formula or a function, shall I say, that actually reverses the cell contents. Now, you might think that's a bit of a laugh, but sometimes it can be very useful for encrypting parts of stock codes and things. So this isn't an exercise in so much as understanding why, but it gives us an introduction to writing our own functions within Excel. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Now, to develop obviously parts of VBA and your own functions, you really need to be in the Visual Basic Editor. The ribbons I've got on at the moment, if we have a look: Home, Insert, Page Out, Formulas, Data Review, View and Developer. You probably may not have developer ribbon actually on your system, but I've just turned it on and I'll show you how easy that is to do. If we just go to the File menu here, don't forget I'm using 2010. If you're using 2003 Office or 2007, shall I say, then you won't have that, but you'll have a big brown button. You get to the same place. So I'll go to there, and if I go to Options, then obviously there's a lot of options here. One of the options is to customize your ribbons, and if I just click on that, I'll be mainly concerned over here. You see, your developer ribbon will be probably turned off, unless you have already turned it on, of course. So you can turn your ribbons on, and that's all I've done. So basically that's all I've ever done, is just turn that on. So I'm just going to click OK now. Now in the developer ribbon, you've got access to macros, recording a new macro and such as, but more importantly you've got the Visual Basic Editor. So I'm just going to click on that. Now the Visual Basic Editor, I'll just resize this so we can see it all. Okay, where are we? There we go. We'll just muck about with this a little bit. So the Visual Basic Editor, once again, VBA project, this book. So I'm going to add a new module. I can do the right mouse button and insert a module, and this is obviously a module is simply a code window where we can type code in. Now I'm not going into all the generals here, which is already in the decorations. I'm just going to give you an idea of how to write a function. The function is very simple. It starts off with the word function, then you give you a function name, and that's the name you'll actually use in yourself when you do equals. Remember, the aggregate functions equals sum, equals average, equals max, min, and so forth. So come up with a good function. It's going to reverse things, so I'm going to come up with the function name reverse. Oh no, probably just readme. So function, we'll start it off with a function, and then the name of the function, and I'm just simply going to call this readme. Now with all functions, they can either return things or don't, and then you must have some things in parentheses. I'm going to pass to this function cell contents. So basically what I'm going to store that in is some kind of variable. So inside the preference, the parentheses, I'm going to actually come up with a variable name that will hold the cell contents that I'm going to include in my function. This will all make sense when probably we see the function in action. I'm just going to say rep text. I'm just giving it a name, a variable name. Now I could say as string and thing, but it'll still work without it. So what I've done is open the function. As soon as I press me enter key, it will give me the end function. So now I've got a function called readme, and I'm passing information from a cell into a variable called reptext. Now the first thing I want to do is take reptext and find out how many characters there are in it. And one of the functions we can use that is length, or len. So we'll apply that to a variable. I'll just call it L equals the length of reptext. So now I've got how many characters there are in what I'm passing to this function, the contents of the cell. And then I'll just come down a bit. What I'm going to do is what we call a for next loop, but reverse it. I'm going to do like a backward loop. So what in effect it will do, it'll look at how many characters there are, set up a loop for that number of characters, and using the mid-string function, I'm going to get it to read the last letter first, and keep concatenating them together from last to first. Now we'll do that. I'll set up a for next loop, very simple one, for t equals, now for t equals L to 1 step minus 1. That's how we do a reverse for next loop. Yep. The next line, I'm going to actually say that revme, don't forget that is the function, yeah, revme equals revme. Now there's plenty of ways you can concatenate a string or a number of characters. You can use the plus sign, I like the ampersand. Revme equals revme and the mid string of rev text, because I passed that, comma L comma 1. Now the way the mid string works, or mid function, it will actually, you give it a start character along the way, and if L's already the last character, then it goes to the last character, and I only want one character at a time, so that's why we have 1. Now I'm going to close that, so I'm saying that revme equals itself and whatever character I'm reading in from rev text. Yeah, does that make sense? I hope it makes sense to me actually. And then we're just going to go next T. If that works, I'll eat my hat. The thing about the Visual Basic Editor, I can actually run it from here, but more importantly I can just minimize it. Yeah, and let's see if it works. So I'm just going to type in my name here, Mick, and I'm going to use the rev function, the revme function that we've just created, equals revme, that cell there. Whoa, what did put up there? Oh, I see the problem. Let's go back to our Visual Basic Editor. For t equals L to 1 step minus 1, revme equals revme and the mid of rev text. I think I've got these the wrong way around. No, I haven't. Revme equals revme and the mid of rev text next t L to 1 step minus 1. Ah, T, you daft sod. That should read T, sorry. For T equals, so it goes on for the next step. Sorry about that. So I'll be going all over this again. So if I equals revme, that cell there, you can see it's reversed my name. You can have great fun with this, of course, but there are some serious issues when you want to actually reverse bits of code, order codes, you want to encrypt them somehow. So if I put my full name in, Michael Farrell, and next to that I equals revme, that cell there, then I'm called Laraf Liakim, which is my name's backwards. Let's just have a look at that function again. Let's have a look at the function bar. Equals reverse me, whatever's in A6. A nice little function. Now I'm just going to take you quickly back to the Visual Basic Editor and try and explain it fully to you. All I've done, I've set up a function called revme. That's the name you use with your equal sign when you want to run this function in a spreadsheet. I'm passing it text from a cell specified within the parenthesis, and I'm storing that contents in a variable called rev text. I then find the length of rev text. That sets how much the for next loop operates. So if it's 4 characters long, then L at this point would be 4. So now I set a backward for next loop saying for t equals 4 to 1 step minus 1. Do this bit of code here, revme equals revme and whatever the mid string is coming backwards, next t. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, that's just one of the many functions I like to write in. Now don't forget, this will only be available in this particular workbook, yeah, unless you share your macros within, you know, another area. Now we'll be getting that in later on, how to create macros that cut across all the workbooks. But for now, that's specific to this workbook, as you can see, because VBA book 1, and it's nicely in that book. It works. Let's have one more look at it and then we'll go on to the next video. I'll just go back to Excel. You'll be having fun with names, won't you? My mate, Peter Stanley Hoff. And there we go for Yelnats Retep. That sounds good. I may email him that tonight and say that's what your name is backwards. Well, thanks for listening. Hope it's been a bit useful. As I say, it's just a preemptive strike into VBA program, creating your own functions, and it is marvellous that you can actually create your own functions because it gives us so much more adaptability, especially in financial services that I've been working in. Thank you for listening.